In this video, I'm going to show you some of the tools you can use to work with a sprite, adding behaviors, and I'm going to discuss a few of the bits and pieces. We're going to look at the idea of variables, which is a way of storing information and adding and subtracting a number to help with that information. But here's my stickman I imported earlier. If I want to preview this, I can click the preview button. So it might take a bit of time for it to load up because my internet connection isn't fast at the moment. So if I just press the play button, there he is. There's nothing I can do with him. He's just a graphic sitting on the screen. So let's add some behaviors to him. Now, to be able to control objects on the screen, we need to define those controllers. So the first thing I want to do is insert some controllers. So I'm going to insert a new object, and then I'm going to go down and have a look at my input. Here we are. I'm going to insert a mouse, and then I'm going to insert a keyboard. So now I can use these objects here on the right-hand side of the screen to be able to control my sprite. And in here, I've got this sprite, but it doesn't have a name. So I'm going to rename it because I don't want to have, I could have 100 sprites in my project, and I don't really want them to be all called sprite 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to call this player. All right, so here's my player in my game. And I'm going to actually make another object for my player to stand on, because as soon as I add a behavior that has something to do with a platform game, gravity is going to be applied to that player. So again, I'm going to right-click, insert a new object, go down to Sprite, and insert. And here I'm using my editor feature. So right now, the size of my graphics are, let's have a look here. Let's click on here, are 250 pixels by 250. Well, that's quite a big object. If you think that my player is 200 pixels high, that's quite big. So I'm going to reduce the size of this to 100 pixels by 100 pixels. And I'm going to click OK. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to fill this block with a color and use it as a basic building block for a platform. So let's make it green. And I think I'm going to draw a cross on it. Let's do black. Okay, click close, and there it's automatically added to the screen. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and I can stretch it if I want. I can make it bigger, smaller, whatever I want to do. I can duplicate it. And click. Or I can go Command C and Command V, and the little cross appears. Now I have multiple objects, and we'll just put them together to make a platform. So let's add a behavior. Oh, I've got two sprites I've imported for some reason. That's the clone sprite, so I can call this clone. And okay, so I just want to make sure, yeah, I'm actually going to get rid of everything that's a clone and just copy my platform type. I want to add a different behavior to the clone than I want to add to my platform type. So because these are basically instances of the same object, I want to just make sure that everything is together. Okay, so I can select an object, the platform tile. I can now add a behavior to it, and here are all the different things in my submenu that I can do to this. I can clone it, delete it, align it, add it to a timeline, or I can add a behavior. So here we have an instance variable or a behavior or an effect. An effect's like a Photoshop effect. To be honest, I rarely use effects. I don't see why I need to add a ripple effect to a graphic unless the game really needs it. But I certainly include instance variables and behaviors. We're going to look at behaviors first. And if we look through here, we can see that there's some behaviors. Now, what I want to happen is I want this object to be solid, so nothing can go through it. So I just click solid and click add. So now this has a solid behavior. Let's go to my player and let's add a behavior to him. So I can go add and behavior. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give him a platform behavior. And this automatically allows me to move my player and make him behave like a character in a platform game. So I'm just going to click add. So now my player's got that behavior. I'm going to go file and whoops. No, I'm not. I'm going to save here. And let's test and see what happens. Oh, and look, my player has landed on my platform and I can make him jump using my arrow keys and I can make him move left and right. So we have the basic behaviors in about 5 seconds for a platform game. I'm going to make sure it's saved.